Yo, so the deathmatch tutorial won the poll by like 70-30, so guess you guys just really fucking want a deathmatch video. Anyways, I'm not even gonna keep the intro long at all. Let's just get straight into the tips. I was kind of hoping you guys would vote for cat spam because that would take this shit out of the way, as this would be like a follow-up video, but I guess we're doing this one first. So primary weapon, ultimatum, backup weapon, sparkling horn slash thunderer, melee's cashbacks, special weapon is cybercat or let me see if I can find it. Yeah, necklace of the ice king, this thing. Special sniper weapon, I mean, you can really use anything with above 146 damage, provided you have X mods. And I'd say just try to get high fire rate, high capacity, decent damage. Good examples are laser bow, shinobi, innocent sniper rifle, exchanger, and I'm sure we all know harsh punisher, conductor assault. All these weapons are pretty good, right? Heavy weapon are bomber cat or pixel caller refresher, two really good heavy weapons. Destruction systems also an option, however I wouldn't personally recommend it for deathmatch. For your wear, you want to be using inflatable armor or developer armor, provided that you're straight, of course. Now, I personally like girls, so I do prefer inflatable or developer, usually when I'm playing. However, if you do have a thing for guys, right, if you are a little fruity on that side, I would recommend cash armor. This is perfectly suitable for people of the gay orientation. Anyways, hat, burning tiara, this is non-negotiable. If you don't have it, get into the tournaments, the easiest fuck, get this hat. If you don't have this, you're just gonna struggle, right? Mask, Halloween mask, this is also kind of unnegotiable, but if you don't have it, you can just put on the pet and it's just like old X mods basically. So, I mean, it's not really necessary, but if you don't have it, you're still gonna have a disadvantage. Cape, you want the cape editor or the PG hero cape or the maneuvering module. These all do the same thing. So, you know, pretty great that it's the cape editor because it's the most free to play one in the cape section, which I really appreciate. For the boots, you want Stardust or Cyber Pilgrim or Cyber Santa. Stardust is actually 1% better than the other ones, by the way. This has a 6% boost, whereas the other ones have 5%. Obviously, if you don't have all these, get Berserk boots. For your gadgets, you would want the Biotic Shield. Or at least this is what I personally use, right? Most of you are probably going to be using Cyber Bee Swarm. Most of you are probably going to be using Ninja Shurikens. I personally use Biotic Shield to dodge bees, and I'll get into the use of that later, right? But tools, you want Leader's Drum. There is nothing else as good as Leader's Drum. Jetpack is maybe a close second, but Leader's Drum, 25% damage increase on all weapons, so definitely required if you do want to be getting consistent gameplay, if you do want to have that edge over your opponent. Oh yeah, and I also want to add, if you don't already know, this pet that's in the battle pass right now for free after a certain tier is actually very OP. This gives you a 7% damage increase on all weapons for all time, by the way. It doesn't matter if the pet is dead, you still get that damage increase. So definitely have this equipped. It is criminal to not have this equipped because it's a massive advantage over anyone else in the game. Okay, so now with all that stuff cleared out in the armory, I'd like to move on to my first tip. Okay, so my first tip is the Polygon. Now you might be confused saying, how is this a tip, right? This is just a game feature. Well, this is not just a game feature, my friends. This is the best place to practice in all of Pixelgun without having to worry about anything, without lagging, because this is the one place where you can actually get a stable 60 FPS and shoot at things like their players. This place is amazing. I would recommend coming here if you want to practice anything mechanics-wise. You know, some people in their videos say that you should go to the nuke map and like fucking shoot at the windows or whatever, which don't do that. Like that's not really gonna accomplish anything, bro. Because as I will get into very shortly, camera aim is not what you're trying to focus on, okay? It is your joystick. As you can see, my mouse isn't really like moving on my opponents. It's more like I'm moving it in the general direction and then walking into the shot, which I'm also going to be talking about, because these are really important tips to make sure that you have consistent aim, both for PC and for mobile. As you can see, I barely moved my mouse there and I hit all 4 targets. Okay, so now we're in a deathmatch game, so I can get to some of the more contextual stuff. But first off, the first thing that I would just want to teach everyone, because I feel like this is the most important, is to always follow diagonal/cross movement. Now, if I can get your attention to the joystick at the bottom left corner of the screen, right? So I'm going to show my cursor. If you can see it, yeah, it's on the joystick right now, right? You want to be moving in this, or this direction. at all times, okay? Just imagine like an X and just put that over the joystick. You want to be moving in those directions. This will, and it's really hard to explain, make it way easier to hit your shots consistently, because this, essentially what this is doing some of the movement for you. I'm not really going to be trying, I'm just trying to like exemplify. It's kind of doing the movement for you, right? So as you can see, I'm not really moving my mouse a lot, just moving in certain directions, and it's just like lining my shot up. You'll see this on every pro you watch, every pro. Kravos, one shot torpedoes, one tap. Everyone you watch, you will see them do this because it is so broken. Nobody does it because nobody knows about it. But I'm here to teach you everything you need to know, and cross movement is definitely the first thing on my list as the most important to master. You know, again, like I said before, getting used to this, you can easily get used to this in the Polygon. Just try it out. Of course, I'd try to make sure that you're also cat spamming while doing this as well. Again, cat spam's kind of recommended for deathmatch. It is the meta. But yeah, first tip is cross movement. Alright, so now we're in the next match. And the next thing that I want to talk about, which I think is kind of equally as important, is to try to always move backwards, right? So on top of this diagonal movement, as you can see on the brown house right now, this is what we call the brown house, is the best house to be on a nuke. What I'm kind of doing is every single time I get a kill, I'm moving slightly forward and then back again until... Okay, right, he's doing that. Until I get the actual kill, and then... It seems like I've ran out of ammo here. But... Okay, so this is just really hard to explain from you, but essentially, you want to try to find a rhythm in your movement, and this will just make your aim so smooth, so clean, so much more consistent as well, because you're relying way less on R&D and much more on like creating like a system in where you're shooting people. I don't really know why I'm getting fed right now, but yeah, I will highlight this more later probably, as it kind of does tap into some other things that I'm going to talk about, but yeah, make sure that you always have a rhythm, a system, and the next thing we have to talk about is tempo. Okay, so I've spawned again, and tempo is what I'm going to talk about. Now, the best example for this, and I'll actually link one of his videos down below, is Kravos. Kravos always, in his gameplay, plays with a tempo. He never cat spams super fast, he never cat spams at random speeds, no, he always plays with a set tempo, so all of his shots are evenly spaced out, and this just essentially makes it so, it's pretty hard to master, but this just makes it so you miss less, because you're doing the same amount of thinking in between every shot, right? So, actually the best way of doing this is to alternate between your sniper and your backup. Obviously, you know, you do want to use your special weapon as well, but I find that the easiest way to kind of master this is to just switch between sniper, backup, sniper, backup, and backup, sniper, backup. Okay, we're gonna take a little pause. Sniper. Yeah, so as you can see, right, when I miss, when I start going fast, I'm not gonna hit any shots. But as you can see, I'm leaving the same amount of space in between every shot, and my general recommendation for this is if you miss 2 shots while doing this, just cat spam normally until you get that kill. But yeah, if you can hit every shot doing this, which it is pretty easy actually once you get into a nice tempo, and if you're also following the cross movement, like I said before, it is pretty easy to get like a nice streak going, because this tempo combined with rhythm and cross movement basically makes it so you always have the same aim consistently. The most important part of deathmatch is consistency, because it's 4 minutes straight of just you versus your opponent who can get the most kills, right? Or just FFA, who can get the most kills overall. And obviously you want to stay consistent during this. Yes, you can play really good for 30 seconds, but that's not going to matter if you play bad for the rest of the 330, right? So like I said, keep a rhythm, make sure that you're playing on a tempo, don't be too fast, don't be too slow, and just overall make sure that you're trying to move backwards and diagonally as much as possible. Alrighty, so next thing I'm going to talk about is game sense, because this, in my opinion, is the second most important thing aside from your consistency on your aim. So, for nuke, for pole is like a completely different story. In fact, pole could have its own video, but for nuke, you want to be preferring, most of the time, the edges of the map. So, my top 3 best spots on the map to be is that house right there, specifically on that side, like near the back, so you can quickly dip back if you need to. Over here, specifically like right behind this box, is like probably one of the best spots. This also includes the fence, by the way. Let me just go over that. This fence right here, you can just sit behind it, jump up every now and then. This is a great spot for just farming kills, just, you know, protects you as well. But the number one spot, in my opinion, game sense wise, to be always is this house, the brown house. As you can see, it's pretty brown. It's pretty nice. But this house is essentially counted by the least spawns. So basically, this has the least spawns that could be ambushing you from the back that you're gonna have to worry about, and this also has generally the widest view on the entire map, so you're basically gonna be able to see everybody that's alive, right? And this should go without saying, but try to make sure most of the time that you're on top of a roof and nuke. If you're not, it's going to be really annoying shooting at the players that are on top of the roof, and you're just not going to be having a fun time, right? So either jump up to them, rocket jump to them. You can rocket jump from roof to roof as well, so that's pretty important to remember. But make sure that you're staying on top of a roof, and make sure that you're trying to get to one of the best spots in the map, this one included. Okay, so next tip to do with game sense, which is always keep your rocket jump handy. Now, a lot of people don't actually know how to use rocket jump. Like a lot of people, I'm using Bomber Cat, so it's less evident, but a lot of people with Pixel Collar will quite literally just rocket jump directly upwards every 2 seconds. And this kind of does work, but if you're up against someone who's even half decent, you're just going to be getting blasted out of the sky every single time you do it. So, like, this is just, it's just a pretty newbie way of playing, right? If you're playing against shitty players, yeah, sure, do this, but you just don't want to be rocket jumping upwards, or just generally rocket jumping a lot. But horizontal rocket jumping is a different story, because this can actually be the difference between a game win and a game lost. Now, horizontal rocket jumping is essentially when you rocket jump to the side. It does kind of depend on where you're rocket jumping off of. Off the side of a house is my personal favorite, you know, stuff like this, stuff like that. It's pretty hard to not self-damage yourself doing this, but if you're careful enough, and if you do actually jump before you do this, I don't think you can. So if you are going to be rocket jumping often in a game, which I'm not going to blame you, not my personal gameplay, but I'm not going to blame you for doing that, right? Make sure that it's mostly horizontal. This makes you way harder to hit, way more unpredictable, and this also acts as a great way to rotate if you can't see anyone to kill, right? Let's say there wasn't anyone there. I just rotate. Get, can we get the fourth? Nope, it's fine. We just rotate again. Get another one. Get another one. Yeah. I mean, you know, you get what I mean. I'm kind of getting carried away, but rotating is very important, and horizontal rocket jumping is the best, fastest, most efficient way of doing that. Just try not to do this, please. Just even stopping doing that is a step in the correct direction when it comes to rocket jumping. Just don't rocket jump upwards, right? It's just not gonna go well. Right, so another thing to do with rocket jumping, actually, that I kind of forgot to talk about is if you do find yourself in a place where you can't seem to find kills, the first thing that I'd actually do personally is rocket jump backwards and up, because if you can't see anyone, there's actually a pretty good chance that they're right behind you. This house isn't really the best example, because there's very rarely anyone behind you in that house, but if you were on, let's say, the yellow one on the right side of the screen here, or mostly the pink one, there will be people behind you most of the time. So rocket jumping backwards, pulling out your ultimatum or sniper is a really good habit to have, because this does mean that you're going to be picking people off that are trying to pick you off, and it can also get you ahead as well. So yeah, definitely make sure to keep your rocket jump handy for that, and also rotation, like I covered before. But yeah, you see, I just rocket jump backwards, I see that guy, let's say that I was on this roof, again I was shooting that, rocket jump backwards, you know, get that shot. Let's say I was on this roof, rocket jump backwards, there could be someone there, obviously there's not though, because everyone's in front of me. But yeah, that's all I have to say about rocket jumping. Don't overdo it, but don't, you know, abandon it either, because it is one of the most important mechanics in the game, hands down. So yeah, number one tip, just don't overdo it. Alright, so that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. I've seriously been trying to make a tutorial video for so long at this point. Like, I've literally called off making this since like fucking April last year. So I'm so happy that I can finally get it out. Like I said, I did want to do the cat spam video first, preferably. But this is what you guys did vote for, so obviously I did this first. If you do want that cat spam video as well, because a lot of that kind of ties into this, put it down in the comments. I will make that right away if you guys want. Yeah, if you could really take away anything from this video, right, I'd say just to keep that cross movement handy, or at least just give it a try, you know, hop into the good old Polygon. Make sure to give that a try, because I do believe that's the number one tip in this video. That's why I just put it first. But yeah, by the time this video is uploaded, I'll probably be at 500 subs, so thank you guys so much for 500 subs. I did not think that I'd actually gain any attention like a year ago when I started uploading pixel gun videos because I thought they were cool. But yeah, happy new year and have a lovely day.